Sanjay, a young man barely out of his teens, had come to Meerut from a small village. He was desperate for work. He found a job as a night watchman at GP Block. People whispered about this place. They said it was haunted. Sanjay scoffed at such superstitions. He needed the money. He would take his chances. Sanjay missed his family. He missed his mother's cooking. Most of all, he missed his mother's comforting presence. He gripped his torch tighter and started his rounds. The building was old and imposing. It looked like a relic from the British Raj. The walls were high and forbidding. The windows were dark and empty. There was a heavy silence hanging in the air. It pressed down on Sanjay, suffocating him. As he walked through the deserted corridors, Sanjay felt a chill run down his spine. He could hear the sound of his own footsteps echoing in the silence. He could hear the sound of his own breathing. Or was it just his imagination? He stopped to catch his breath. He could hear other sounds too. There were whispers. He felt a growing sense of unease. Sanjay jumped as a rat scurried past his feet. He shone his torch at the spot. There was nothing there. He was starting to lose his nerve. He had to pull himself together. He couldn't afford to be scared of his own shadow. He entered a large hall. It was dimly lit by a single bulb. The air was thick with dust. The stench of decay made him gag. He saw a pair of glowing red eyes staring at him from the darkness. He froze, his blood turning to ice. The silence was shattered by a blood-curdling scream. Sanjay ran towards the screams. He didn't know what he would find, but he couldn't ignore a cry for help. He raced up the stairs, taking them two at a time. He burst through a door, his torchlight dancing across the room. There, in the middle of the room, stood a group of men. They were dressed in old British military uniforms. Their faces were pale and gaunt. Their eyes were vacant and hollow. The stench of decay was overpowering. Sanjay stood there, frozen to the spot. He couldn't believe his eyes. One of the figures stepped forward. "This is our land," he rasped, his voice a dry whisper. "You do not belong here." Sanjay stumbled back in terror. He turned and fled, racing down the hallway. He burst through a door and found himself in another room. A woman sat in a rocking chair, her back to him. She was dressed in a red saree. Her long black hair cascaded down her back. She turned to face him, her eyes blazing with an unholy fire. Sanjay screamed and ran until he burst out of the building and into the night. He didn't stop running until he reached the safety of his village.
Let's meet in next video.